Hey, welcome back to the Ticats CFL Draft Show, powered by TELUS. Digital host Louie B for the Hamilton Ticats. Thank you so much for joining us. TSN has wrapped up their coverage of the first two rounds of the draft, and picks are coming fast and furious. So while we were talking with Derek Taylor there, a couple of picks coming in. We mentioned Bruno LaBelle, the tight end out of Cincinnati, was selected 20th overall by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Patrice Rene of North Carolina, a DB, he was taken 21st overall. Ben Bladdock of UBC, going to BC with the 22nd overall pick, a linebacker. Deontay Glover out of Shepherd University, running back, going to the Edmonton Football Club. Connor Bergloff, and they did come. I was not kidding. Those picks came quick as we were talking to DT there. Deontay Glover, I mentioned, 23rd overall, 24th overall. Connor Bergloff out of Saskatchewan, defensive lineman, with the 25th overall pick, Louie Villain out of Michigan. All right, time to talk about who the Hamilton Tiger Cats have selected. Of course, they had four picks, so far, including their last two pick at 18 and 19 overall. Dean Leonard out of Mississippi and Mohamed Diallo out of Central Michigan. And very pleased to be joined by the Senior Director of Personnel and Co-Manager of Football Operations for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That is Shawn Burke. Burkey, it is great to see you. Thank you for taking some time. I know there is some time before your next pick, so thanks for doing this. Great to see you. How's the night going so far for you guys?
We think we're having a great night so far. Obviously, with the pick of Jake and having him signed going into the draft, it came together in the last couple of days, and we're just excited to get a player like him and a person like him in the organization. So very exciting, and I'm sure we'll get into the rest of our three picks that are known in your line of questions. So just happy so far.
Well, let's stick with Jake Burke there for a second, because a late addition to the draft list, but obviously someone who was born in Canada, so someone who's got eligibility. And again, these are guys that you've had your eyes on for years. So when you saw that Jake Burke was making himself, kind of declaring himself, what was your first kind of reaction to that news last week?
Yeah, so we prepped for Jake last year in last year's draft. That's when we haven't known him for as long as others, because he sort of came about, but he didn't put his name in the draft last year. So we had done a bunch of prep work in the previous draft and just refreshed it and talked about his time in New England. And, one of the things we do know, he did take down his playing weight for Boston College to fit New England's scheme a bit, that he's a little lighter, which obviously make him faster on the field and everything. So it was just a great opportunity to bring someone into building for what we do on offense and to have a complement to Kalinick in the same type of position. And then, just the offensive skill set of how he works with time and space and how he catches the ball just gives us an added dimension on the offensive side of the ball. I know Coach Condell's quite happy.
A couple of picks just coming in. Just want to update fans here. Charlie Moore was taken with the 26th overall pick by the Calgary Stampeders, and Chris Fournier taken 27th overall. As we very quickly move on to round four, let's talk about some of the other picks, Berkey, here that you have made. Let's talk about Nick Cross. What do you like about him, and where do you see him lining up for your team?
With Coach O, since I've known him, he's preached position versatility, and Nick's a versatile player. First and foremost, we think he'll do a great job on special teams. Great athlete, high football IQ, successful everywhere he's been. He's obviously coming off injury, so he's had to go through that. But we were excited to get him at 9. We had our eyes on him, and we think he can upgrade our football team from day one.
Moving on to 18th overall pick in round 2, you got Dean Leonard, DB. What caught your eye about him?
Yeah, Dean's a guy that's going back to school, so he's a future pick. And if he wasn't in that situation, he would have gone a lot higher. He's a potential ratio changing DB that could play the corner spots. Great length, great athleticism, great ball skills. So just just a great opportunity to get a player of his caliber at that spot.
Mohamed Diallo, you took him very next pick with the 19th overall pick. What do you like about him?
Just an amazing story in terms of 4 years of football and what he produced on film. He's likely to be back in school as well. He's in the transfer portal right now, but he just wreaked havoc on the quarterback in his film, and it's just great film to see. And the potential he has with the coaching staff we have in Coach O, obviously Coach Washington, and then Coach Melvin as a D-line coach. We can do some really great things when his time comes here.
Going into this draft and this draft, because of years of eligibility being extended, across the NCAA youth sports, I mean, did you kind of have to have a specific plan in terms of, okay, let's focus on getting guys who can help now if we can get them, and down the road? I mean, that's kind of always the game you have to play on draft night. But this year specifically, was there any additional obstacles that came with something like that?
I think you're always matching, best player on your board and needs a bit. At number one, we obviously wanted a guy that would be in-house when you have the first overall pick. So, that's why we had the deal signed beforehand. And then you're looking at your board and you're going from there. So for Nick to be available to us is great, but at the same time, it was who we had at the board at the time. So they match up perfect, but there is an ebb and flow to it, especially with the double cohort draft class. So it did have some thinking, but when two players of that caliber are available, when we picked at the end of the second and the start of the third, it's just an exciting time for our organization.
You mentioned something about Coach O, who loves to preach versatility, but something I've learned about O is that he loves to preach competition. And I think iron sharpens iron is something that has been said by many players on this team. And looking at kind of going into camp, the draft class you had last year, the draft class you're going to have this year. Plus, I mean, there's going to be some competitions. You're going to have to make some tough decisions when it comes to who's on this roster come week one.
Yeah, I think Coach O and the entire staff, preaches the competition thing, and it resonates with our players. It's a healthy competition. It's not a unhealthy one where not everyone's on the same page. We have the common goal all together, but we want players that want to compete against their teammates every week for playing time. And Coach O and his staff do a great job of that. It's going to be exciting to see these battles throughout training camp and into the season, and just an exciting time for our football club.
Berkey, I know the draft is still going on, so I will let you get back to
it. No, I just want to say one thing. I saw a GM do it on the weekend, and, just thanks to our entire staff. It's not just Coach O, Drew Alamang, or myself, or the personnel staff, our coaches, everyone involved, athletic therapist, team doctor, Matt Nickel, our sports science guy, Drew, our equipment guy. It's just a total team effort in this organization, and everyone deserves a shout out before I get back to work here.
Okay, I will add something there. Claire as well, who does a fantastic job.
I said athletic therapist.
Yeah, I know you said that. I just want to say Claire, because I know you have guys who are coming off knee injuries, and I know that you have the full confidence of Claire and the athletic training staff at Hamilton Tiger. I know that you said it. Okay, I'll let you go. Berkey, thanks for doing this, buddy. I'm trying to get you in trouble, and you don't need to be. Shawn Burke, he's the senior director of personnel, co-manager of football operations. Get back to work. You got some draft picks to make. Berkey brings up a great point in the fact of I'm very proud to be working for this organization. I'm not shy about that. I'm also very proud of the team I work with. You see that Star Wars theme that we're going with tonight here for the draft. I work with some very, very, very talented people behind the scenes. Why my face is the one that has or gets to go in front of the camera every day is a miracle. But it's everybody who works behind the scenes and the marketing staff, the digital staff here at the Hamilton Ticats. They make me look good. Everything you see that's creative and good. It's because of that. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to wrap up we're going to catch you up on what has happened. I know I promised you some draft picks, but this is a live show. and we're trying to see this as we go. Also coming up, Nick Cross is going to be by very, very quickly, but we're going to recap some draft picks. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We're back in 60 seconds, I promise. It's the Ticats CFL Draft Show powered by TELUS. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.